Hello and welcome to another Nikomedia tutorial. I got some questions how I did this sphere along this helix along this sphere here, and so I decided to show you how I did this picture here. So we recreate this picture. Okay, let's start. First we need an arc spline. This arc spline I need from 90 degrees to minus 90. Okay. And the next thing what I need is a null object. So that we see this null object a little better, I make a cube here. Now what I want is that this null object moves along this spline, and during this spline rotates like this, and in an animation when we trace then this is null object, when we trace it we get this a sphere-shaped helix then. Yeah, we'll see what I mean. Okay, let's start. In the null object we need an align to spline tag here, and in this spline path here we put the arc in. So, okay, then I need, and we see now in the position of this align to spline tag, in the position, now we can move along the spline. And now I want to rotate the arc, so I go to my arc, to coordinates, and I need this rotate the heading, so in this direction here. Okay. So I have to set the keyframe here, and in R17 you just have to click on this circle, and in the older versions I think you have to control click or just right click on it and add keyframe. And look, I want to start by frame 1, so with a null, and record this frame. I don't want to record everything, I want just to record this. So record this, then go to frame 100, and here to, let's say, 1440 degrees, so 4 full rotations. And record it again, and if we play this now it should rotate. Okay, I have it on loop, I don't want to loop this, so go to animate, play mode, simple, and I want not a spline interpolation, I want a linear interpolation. So I go to my timeline, so let's go to window and timeline F-curve, and here as make a control A for everything selecting, and go to linear. So now I have a linear spline, and it rotates every time with the same speed. And I want this linear interpolation for the whole project, so I go into project settings with Control D, and here I have the key interpolations, and I go from spline to linear. And so for this, that I have the whole in the whole project, just click here the over tab, and now everything will be linear. So the rotation we have now from the arc, and now we must animate the movement along the spline. So on the position 0 we go to, we make here and record this keyframe, then go to 100 and here 100% and record this again. Now we should see that we see something. You see now the null goes along the spline and is here. Now we put this null, we select this null and put this in a tracer object. So we go to MoGraph tracer, and you see we have now the null in here. And if you don't have it in here, just drag it in this window here. And now, if we make this same animation, you see we get this nice spline. But I see this is not really, this is linear. So I go to my tracer, the type to Bezier, and I go to uniform here. Now we have a nice smooth curve. And with this tracer, with this path, we can make a sweep object. So we make a sweep, put the tracer in this sweep, and now we need a profile for this sweep. And here I want a rectangle. And the rectangle I want, let's say here, about 5 and 40, like this. And this we put as profile for the sweep, and we get something like this. Looks nice, but not that this what we want. We want a shape like a sphere, and not like this. And we can't do this with the banking. This helps nothing. What we need is a rail spline. We need a rail spline, and we need a rail spline just for the direction here and not for the scale, so we can deactivate the scale. And for the rail spline, we need again an arc, and the same thing, the same action, but just with the arc a little smaller. So we copy this arc. That means Control key on your keyboard and just drag it down, and you get a copy, so arc 1. And this arc I just need a little smaller, so T for scale, and make it a little smaller. That's enough here. Let's go back here so that we see everything a little better. So of course now with the arc we need a new tracer, so we need a new null object that we can trace. So I copy this null object. Oops, copied too much, so I just want to copy this null object. And in this align to spline tag here, I put now this arc 1 in. So. And now I need a copy of this tracer. And this copied tracer works as a rail spline then. So I just copied this tracer and let it in the sweep NURBS 2, so like this. And the third object here now is the rail spline. And here we want to trace this null object 1, not this null object. Just delete it and put in the null object 1. So that should work. Normally, if we make down our animation, yes, you see, we get this sphere shape. But here it looks a little weird at the top. So this we can fix with select both of these tags here, this spline tags. And let's start here. Go to the, okay, we have in frame 100. Let's go here to frame 100 to 95% and record it. And go to the first frame. And we start by 5% and record it. And now let's see if it works better. Okay, now, so, yeah, now we don't have this ugly thing. Okay, and if you now want to have this span a little closer or more rotations, just go to your arcs, select both of them, go to the coordinates, to frame 100, and just, let's say we want twice this rotations, so just go in here and times 2 and record it again. So now we go back. Oops, go back. Okay. And now we should get something like this. And that's exactly what we want. So, but now let's make this whole thing a little smoother. So, I don't want in the sweep knobs, I don't want triangles, I want an n-gon here. Okay. Let's hide these two splines here. And then I want a rounding here on the side. So just go to our rectangle profile, go here to rounding, and let's say 1. Okay, but this too many segments here. So let's go to the adaptive, not 5 degrees, let's say 15 degrees, that should be enough. Yeah, that's better. And we need caps here, so we get rounding here, so go to our sweep knobs, caps, fillet cap, or whatever it's called. It's too big, but I want 3 steps, and let's say it's 2 centimeter. 3, 2. Let's see how it looks. It's almost too round. Let's say the rectangle with 0.5. And make the caps with 1. Maybe here. But I think this is okay, so let's see. Yes, it should be okay. Good so far. Next thing we need is this sphere inside this helix. So let's make just a sphere. The sphere about 200 centimeter. But that we don't intersect here. That's okay. And now we put this sphere in an atom array. So select the sphere, hold your Alt key on your keyboard and press on the atom array, so it becomes parent of this sphere. And here I want 2 is okay, but I don't want these spheres in the middle, so okay. How does that look? This looks a little ugly here, so go back to them and go to subdivisions, double 16, even 20. Yeah, that's okay. Good. Now we want to light and everything and give these materials. So I want to use my Nikomedias Scene Rig, but you can light it with the Lite version. I do it with the Pro version. You can light it with my Lite version too, or you can light it however you want, just make an infinite floor. And I've shown it in some of my tutorials how you can make an infinite floor and light it with a sky and put an HDRI on the sky, and that's it. But I do it with my scene rig. So I go here and I have the 2. And I just double click it and get a new scene. I could drag it in here, but if I just drag it in this project file, I lose my render settings and some other things. So I just double click it, get my new scene. Now I go back to my scene before, to the helix here, this here. Select everything and make a null object out of this. This is the main object, let's say. And just copy this, so we go to Control C on your keyboard, go to the other scene, and here Control V, and you have everything in here. Okay. Now I want this whole object. First let's animate this whole thing again. So let's start back in animation. So here I have the loop again. Animate spray mode simple. Return again. So okay. Now I go to my main object and put it here, something. Okay. That's okay. So now we start to make materials. We need just very simple materials. I need a silver and a gold material. So I double click here in this material window. Double click on it, no color, just reflectance, no default specular, remove it. Add GGX. Then with the Fresnel I want an conductor and go to gold. Okay, that's nice. And let's say 20% blurriness, that's okay for the gold. Then copy this material, so just control, click on it and drag it to the side. You have a copy of it. And here we just, instead of gold, we take silver. And that's it with the materials. Sorry. So the gold material, we give our sweep knobs. And the silver material on our atom array. Okay. And now in the original picture, sorry, we have this gold dust or nuggets, something else. Then you can easily do this with a cloner. So just make an platonic object, make it small, like 5 centimeter, and put this in a cloner. MoGraph cloner. Okay. Here we make grid array. Sorry. And no Y, so just in the Y1. And let's say 20, 20, and how far we take it like this. Let's see, 1000 by 1000. Okay. Now I want a camera, so I go to my rig, activate the camera. This is too. Let's go down here. Okay, maybe something like this. Okay. Okay. Let's see, this is good for the moment. And now with our cloner here, select the cloner, and we need a random effector. So they are not so straight aligned, these nuggets. Random. But position is okay, but not in the Y axis. Here, let's make it a little bigger, something like that. Then the rotation, we take that. Doesn't matter here, just rotate it a little bit. So that everything is not the same. And in the scale, we can make a uniform scale and go here, like that. Okay. The platonic is a little bigger, I think. Okay. What we now need is in the scene rig, we need an HDRI for reflections and to light the scene. So I go back to my Scene Rig. We have some studios. And what can we take? Let's start with this. Okay, the preview on, so we see what we get. Let's see. Something like this. And now we can try the render, the first try. So Alt R and render this. Doesn't look so bad. But I need gold on our nuggets too, of course. Whoop. And what we have in the original scene. I don't want this now. In the original scene, we have the scale here. Do you see? Here we start very narrow and broader. And this we want to make 2. So go to the sweep knobs. Here. Then let's deactivate for a moment these textures. So with NQ on your keyboard, you deactivate the textures. In the sweep knobs, in the object, we have here the details, and here we have a scale detail. So, and with this scale, we go down a little bit, and you see, get this. Okay. But now I deactivate my camera for the moment, because I think we intersect here a little bit, yes. So go to our sphere here and make this a little smaller, so that's something like this. Here is everything correct, right? Yes. Looks okay, everything. So activate our camera again. But I want this pitching a little, something like that, so we see more of this sweep here above. Okay, let's make a new render. Yeah, nice. Now I want such a blue background like we have here. So go to the background and floor in the rig. Make here and something like this. And away with this one. Copy this one with the control key and make this a little darker. And render it. Okay, looks nice, very nice. But the background is too light, too bright, so I go with the brightness of the background to go down a little bit. Again. Yes, this looks nice. Woo. I like it. Maybe a little darker, like the interactive render region. And make it maybe a little darker. Yes, so I like it. That's it. Okay, activate. Oh, we don't need to activate the textures here. So the next thing, what we want to do, we have a depth of field in this scene. You see it here in the background. The nuggets are blurred. So this is our depth of field. Okay, we have more nuggets here, but if you want more of them, just go to the cloner, make more of them, so you can activate the render instances, so it doesn't matter so much. So go to 3030, make it a little something like that, and then get more. Make maybe the floor a little bigger, so that we don't go over the floor here, so we lose shadows. Back to our rig, floor and floor size, make it bigger, that's it. Okay. Yeah, nice. So now we have to go to our camera, and I want this depth of field. First, what I have to do is go to the render settings and activate in the physical this depth of field. And I want GI too, so and go to depth of field. Then in the camera we need a focus object. We can put in this sphere as focus object. So we have this atom array. What it's focused on. Let's try it. So put this sphere in here. Okay. And here with the f-stop, as lower this number is more blurriness you get in the depth of field. So let's start with, let's say 0.5 should be okay. And make a render. That's too less. But we see it. We need a little better render. So go to the middle GI setting. Activate the depth of field here. Make an output for, let's say, 1000 for the moment. And we render this now. Here we need to go back to 100%. So we see the depth of field a little better. Yeah, the depth of field definitely works. You see it, but it works too good. So when we take this whole sphere in our focus object, so the front of the sphere starts to blur too, and this I don't want. So what I can do now is make a null object. Oops, not a spline, a null object. I name it focus. You can name it however you want. I want this above here. So, and as focus object, I put this null object now. Now I focus. I go in my top view. And now I take my focus here and move it in front of the sphere. So where the sphere starts, so I can be sure that here I get a sharp image. Let's say here, go up, something like this. And render it again. And now you see here we have a sharp image, and before it was not. I don't know if you see it in the video, but now it's here, it's sharp. Okay, that looks fine. Okay. Maybe we want more of these nuggets here, or something like this. So make 40 is too much. Oh, why not? Again, a render. You never can have enough gold. So. Yeah, of course we have still low render settings. Now you see the noise in here and something. We could try another HDRI maybe. Yeah, the depth of field works perfect. Everything works perfect here. I try another HDRI for the moment. So go back to my render settings, to the low GI with no depth of field. Don't need it for the moment. Activate my interactive render region. You activate it with Alt R. Normally, where is it? Here it is. Okay, and now I go to my scene rig and add HDRI settings and try another. We have this inside, so I try it with this one maybe. Okay, go to the preview, and if I deactivated the textures, so NQ to activate the textures again. Now I see that it will be too bright, I think. Yeah, that is too bright, but we can try it. Or maybe another. Let's try this one. Yeah, maybe that one. This is okay. No. Oh no, new. I need one here. Yes, I think that looks good. So Alt R and try to render again with better render setting with our middle GI and render it. Let's see the difference. Maybe we have too much depth of field with blurs here. So we can go back with the depth of field. I think it looks better with the new HDRI. But here you can use whatever you want. You take your HDRIs. I think we have too much depth of field, so go back to our camera and maybe go here to 0.7. Okay. That's not enough, I think. That's good. 0.55. So, but you can play with this depth of field so long as you are satisfied. As long as you are satisfied. I don't want to play now with this, so it becomes boring for you to watch to just change my settings. What you can do, you can render this thing with an object buffer, so you have you have just your sphere here, and can make it a fake depth of field in Photoshop too. But this is not a fake depth of field, and I don't like it. Notice I let it be 5. That's okay. And now I go and make a high render. So I pause this record for a moment. So now I came out with this render and took about 5.5 minutes. And yes, and with this I like it very much. This looks really nice. And to make it even nicer, let's go to Photoshop for a moment. Copy this picture. So you can copy it with Control C. So Control C, and to Photoshop, make a new file. Then from clipboard, document clipboard, okay. And Control V, put it in here. And now make a smart object out of it. So I have it with a shortcut, but you can right click and go convert to smart object. And with Control Shift A, you come to the camera raw filter, make it 100%. And here, to make it even nicer, we can play with the clarity, go up with the clarity. Now you see it looks great. The vibrance a little bit, and you get a great picture. Exposure also. Okay. Now we have a great picture, but we have this. Yips. Okay. That's it for today. I don't think you don't have to do so much with the camera raw filter because it looks good so as it is. But okay. So then I say goodbye. Here we have evening, so a nice evening, or wherever you are, a nice day. And yeah, hope to see you in the next tutorial. And if you have any questions or something, just write in the comments. In the comments you also will find useful links and downloads. And yeah, as I said, you can make this without the Nicomedia rig, so you don't need to buy it or to download the Lite version. It's with the Lite version it is possible too, but the Lite version does not have a camera or something else, so you have to play with your own cameras, make a camera and something else. And yes, that's it. But maybe for the people who don't, so this tutorial is so far it's finished, but now I show you again how you make an infinite floor without the rig or everything, so that you can make your own infinite floor and your own lighting. So you can stop this tutorial here if you have this rig or you know how to make this floor, and for all the other people I show this. So let's just delete the Nikomedias Scene Rig. Check. Now it's everything away, the camera and everything is away. And now I make a disk for the floor. You can make a plane too, but however you want. So T for scale, make it bigger like this. Then I need a background. Here, background. And I need a new material for the infinite floor. I call it background. So, and here I don't need reflectance. I need color and go to the gradient and make a circular gradient and invert these nodes so we have the dark thing outside. Here I want this color we had before, don't know, let's say was something like this. Okay, go away with this thing, copy this one, make it a little darker, and you have this gradient. So now put this material on your background, and this material gets automatically a frontal protection. And the same protection we need for our disk. And the same material we put on our disk. And what we need now it looks like this. Let's see. Go to the render settings and go to low, so we can see it. I don't need the main object for the moment. We get this. What we need is now we go to the disk, right click on the disk, make a compositing tag, and just activate here compositing background. And now we render again, and we have an infinite floor. But what we need now is we need something to reflect and to light. As you see, our nuggets are all black. So we can make a new material. This is our HDRI for the sky then. And here we just need the luminance channel. And for the luminance channel we here we need in the texture, we need an HDRI. I take just this one from our thing and put it in here. You can put in every HDRI you have on your hard disk. So, okay, we have now this sky. Now we need a sky object, of course. Sky object is here. And put this HDRI on the sky object. And here we make a compositing deck too, and scene by camera, turn it off. Let's render. You see, now we have our gold here. Go to the main object, render this, and you have almost the same. But now we have to build a new camera and play with the depth of field and everything. And if you want to make this background now darker, you have to go to your render settings and go to the color here and make this darker and make this darker. Or you can simply make for the gradient you make a filter. Go in this, and in the filter you can play with the lightness here. You see it getting darker. If you render it now, you have a darker background. So you can do it too, but with the rig, of course, you have much more possibilities, much more. And it's much easier. You have your camera. You have if you need reflectance on the floor, it's difficult with this with this material also. Or if you want changing colors or whatever, or changing the brightness of the reflection and everything. Every time you have to go back to your material and change everywhere everything. And, it's complicated, but it's possible. Of course, it's possible. So this is the thing what you get with the infinite floor. And you have seen an infinite floor you have in 1 minute. Okay, so I hope that helps. And so I say now bye bye. And tschüss.